Well, good evening, everybody. I'm John O'Loughlin. Welcome to my channel. It's called McDuff Lives 2. And McDuff lives here on our second channel. This is our backup for another 10 days or so. But please make sure and subscribe to the backup channel, McDuff Lives 2. And welcome, everybody. Welcome, Robert and all the sun. Corky, Route 3, ECAT, Kathy being here, ACT, Jumping Mouse is here, and glad to have you all here. Yeah, well, it's a Monday night. Drummer had a major heart attack last Wednesday. Um, we've been rather busy since then. She's recuperating well. We're we're hopeful that she'll have a full recovery. It it's going to obviously there's some things that are not going to come back, but uh, compared to oh my God, because we had another a very wonderful community member die of a heart attack just the day before. We didn't even know about it, which I guess was good because he had tried to go to the hospital and a different hospital. I won't mention which one. And they turned him away. They said he was having indigestion or something like that. And then he went home and he died with a heart attack. Right here in our community. And so we had the most amazing uh, care. We had here on the island we have EMTs and the fire department and everything. And wow, it was an effort that I'll never forget. Huh. Everybody talks about how much they love their first responders, and I can tell you what I do too. Wow, that was an awesome effort by many people, and it made all the difference. So hallelujah. I think she's going to be fine. Excuse me a second. Therapy. It's going to be back and forth to therapy for quite a few weeks. Oh yeah, Corky's right. The lifesavers are still with us, and man, very grateful. Okay, so tonight we're back together again. The last few minefields have been about the what I've been calling the occult reset. That is that there's a magic act going on, a deception, a sleight of hand, and this is where it's all about. It's all about using a disease as cover, as you know the distraction, while behind the scenes our lives are being turned upside down. Our economies are being shifted in ways that we don't even know about. And the people who have inside knowledge are going to be making a bundle, as they always do. With, hey, Mark, glad to have you here. Hey, Housatonic Live has been doing the most great reporting. Everybody has, for goodness sakes. George Webb, all the other folks at Neighborhood News, Andy and Aaron, but Mark Kulak, Bill Taylor, Decode, who I'm glad to start to get to know his work. There's so many people that are pushing forward, and the good thing is that we all have our own angles at it. Mine is from my father's biography and my own uh, passion for understanding current events in historical perspective. And the medical questions I have no clue about. I am not a doctor or a scientist, but we have people that do understand this stuff. And I think, as far as analysis, um, we've got some great minds working on these problems. And so I'm I'm really hopeful that, if we can get it done, we got to keep working. We got to keep pushing and get it done. There's so much stuff going on in all kinds of different directions that I really don't feel like I can put it all together, like wrap my arms around the whole thing right now. But in terms of a kind of a review of the bidding, it's important that we stop and look back at September 11th, 2001. And I remember where I was. I was at work. I was at my law office at about, I guess I used to get in about 8:15 or so, and it wasn't even 9 o'clock before things started happening. And then the next thing, somebody had a TV, and uh, I don't remember if I don't think I saw the second plane live, but they told me about the second plane, and that's when I stopped what I was doing and went to try to see. And then I saw, and there was all that reporting. But since then, we really haven't been told what happened. We don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but there are people that do know what happened, and there are people that do know a lot more than they're telling us. And one of them is Rudy Giuliani. He knows a lot more than he's telling us. Donald Trump knows a lot more than he's telling us. Um, but it's the whole deal. It is not just uh, Donald Trump and Giuliani. It's the Democrats. It's Clinton. It's Podesta. Um, it's people like General Petraeus, and the whole everything everything is starting to fall apart in terms of the narrative. This is where we are good. This is what we're good at, is taking their narrative and breaking it down. Like Snohomish County man, the guy that supposedly, triggered the whole response in the United States. Somebody from China that was said to have this new coronavirus. I don't think they'd named it yet. Maybe they had. Mark knows the details, but and just go and watch Mark's reporting on this if you want to get the details. But that's very fishy. It's very, very suspicious. And then, within 2 or 3 days, this Dr. Drosten over there in Germany, in Berlin, at a hospital called Charité, or Charity, um, that they just all of a sudden came up with a test to tell whether anybody has or doesn't have this new um, corona thingy wingy. I got to be careful. I'm not going to be very careful here on my backup channel, for goodness sakes. But anyway, the simple question. There you go, Snohomish County man. And anyway, I'm not going to try to break that down because I'm not the person to do that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But we put together so many of these things, like the the use of a PCR test, which was invented by a doctor not for diagnostic purposes, not at all. But this Dr. Carrie Mullis, who had come out swinging at Fauci, saying Fauci doesn't know what he's doing. And then we have the pandemic, but we can't ask Carrie Mullis how do we use this test that you invented? Why? Because he's dead. He just happened to die recently. Recently, meaning 2 years ago. But how does this happen? A test that it's not even a test. It's just a device to find minute quantities of molecules or parts of viruses, not even the whole virus. So that, again, that's very fishy to me. And yet, we have more and more just compounding fishy things happen, like when Governor Hogan of my state imports a plane load of supposed test kits from South Korea. And, George and everybody have traced that and looked into this South Korean stuff and the crazy cult that this is associated with, and the connections between Governor Hogan's wife and the people that run this cult. Very fishy, very fishy. The fact that they, at least as far as I'm aware, they still have not been able to come up with a single vial full of this virus. Or, and maybe that's unfair. Maybe a virus is something that doesn't swim around in a vial. But there are scientists that know whether something is a virus or not. If you look at it under the proper electron microscope, can you not identify that it is or is not? Well, we had an interesting experience when we went to the hospital. One of the things that they did was they tested for not the coronavirus, but all coronaviruses. They tested for a bunch of them. And I'm not going to get into the medical details of the results, but just to tell you, there's like 5 or 6 of them that are right there on the thing. It's not just the one. So can they tell one from another? Not with a PCR test. That's been reported. That's been reported and confirmed. And yet they're claiming that there are millions of people that have had horrible diseases that are caused by this virus that seems to be still to be ephemeral. I did read the other day that Boston College claims to have a sample of it from which they are attempting to develop some treatments or therapies. But I'm sorry, maybe they took some blood from somebody that had been diagnosed as having it, and now they're going to claim that that is it. But we're going on a year and a half now, and all these labs in the world working on the most important medical problem that the world has ever faced, something that has required us to shut down our economy, our schools, to wear masks, to change to let our old people die and die alone in isolation, and they still can't come up with it. But yet they can come up with a so-called, the V word. They say, well, we got this, we got this. They didn't come up with that in 2 weeks or 3 months. They've been working on this stuff a long, long time, and that's where we get to the point where we say, gosh, this is an attack. 9/11 was an attack. Okay, let's not mince words about it. It was an attack upon this country. Who did it? We're not yet sure yet. Sure, I'd love to say I know who did it. It's the Saudis, of course, I know that. Or it was the Israelis, or it was Dick Cheney, or I'd love to know. They won't tell us. So we're flying blind as citizens. We know we're supposed to be taking our duties as citizens very seriously, especially when the country's under attack. And then we got attacked with the anthrax, and Mark's show today, or was last night or today? I don't know what, but you got to see that. Um, his most recent show, because you can see that the timing is just incredibly fast. And once again, they're constructing this narrative out of stories that are fishy. They're all of them fishy. And then, look at another example of New York City and the idea that they were going to put sick people in with our elderly to to save hospital spaces for what they thought were going to be a whole bunch of sick younger people, which didn't turn out. And Trump sends the hospital ship up there, and it sits there, and they don't take advantage of it. See, this is an indication that there's a war going on between various factions within this secret deep state thingy. Did you see? Um, uh, I just looked for a minute ago to see if I could come up with an interesting Trump quote on Biden, and he was interviewed back in 2020. It's easy to find if you Google it, where Trump is interviewed, and and the interviewer asks him, who's really behind Joe Biden, or what's the power behind Joe Biden? And Trump's answer was, "Oh, those are the people that's people are in dark shadows. Those are the ones you never see them. They're the ones that are behind the scenes, the dark shadows," he says. And then he spoke of a plane load of people in dark um, uniforms that were coming to do mischief, and apparently they were stopped. But it's one of the there you go. Thanks, Andy. Trump alleges Biden controlled by people in dark shadows. Well, it does sound like a conspiracy theory. It is a conspiracy theory, for Christ's sake. He's saying, it is my opinion that there is people that are controlling things from behind the scenes. Well, that's a conspiracy. Yeah, it is a conspiracy. What's wrong with saying it's a conspiracy? If there's a conspiracy and you don't talk about it, then how are you ever going to stop it? No shame in having theories. And no doubt there are conspiracies. So do not shirk from saying there's stuff going on behind the scenes. Of course, there's stuff going on behind the scenes. You know, that's why Mark Kulak is not, making six figures uh, in his analyst position. That's why I'm not out there playing music like I'd love to be doing. That's why all of us are taking huge chunks out of our lives to read books, to study this stuff, to get educated about medicine and issues of importance so that we can try to be good citizens. And we are trying. We're trying so hard. Hi, Carol M. It's good to thank you. Yeah, and drummer is appreciates all your kind wishes, and she's definitely feels the love. Thank you so much. Norman's here too. Fabulous. Hey, Norman. Norman's got some great charts, music he's going to put up on his YouTube channel. Norman Smith on YouTube. Um, Great stuff. Well, McDuff's 9/11. Gosh, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I was working uh, as well, what we call it is of counsel. That means that you're not a partner, but you're not an employee. You're kind of an associated lawyer with a law firm. And I was of counsel to probably the biggest law firm in this county at the time, at least the biggest local one, and just did a ton of litigation. uh, I was kind of just I was the go-to guy. So they had stuff that they couldn't settle, just hand it to John, give it to John. I used to carry about 200 legal cases on my docket. I had armloads of files, and was in court quite often. I had a jury trial about a week or so after 9/11, and it was against a lawyer I didn't know. This the boss that I had at this law firm was just really putting a lot of pressure on me to take this case to trial, and get a big verdict and go out there and down there and win it. So I was supposed to, go down and get a great big verdict for this case, which I personally didn't think merited a big verdict. I thought, that they had offered I think $20,000. And I was thinking, man, you could lose this case. Why roll the dice? But we went down there and tried to started the trial. The other lawyer comes in and he gets to go first, right? So he talks to the jury, and he's got a little bit of a limp, and but and so he kind of limps up, and he has on his lapel a flag, a flag lapel, a lapel flag pin. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this guy's not wearing a flag lapel pin, 10 days after 9/11. And yeah, but he was. And then he said to the jury about how, um, please do not pay any attention to my uh, injury from when I was in the military, when I was serving in the military, or when I was in the army or whatever it was. Specifically, he said, I don't remember, but I almost about slapped my forehead. The guy gets up there and he's limping around and he's got a flag lapel pin, and he says, "Pay no attention to me limping around with my flag lapel pin, telling you I'm a veteran." Uh, oh, Jeffrey. Well, that was a long time ago. That was 20 years ago. Um, yeah, we never knew what happened. Tried to watch it on TV, and I was too busy. I just was too busy. I had a lot of work to do, and uh, just we just always all of us we just went on. We just figured, well, the authorities will handle it. 'Cause at that time, I didn't have any reason to mistrust the Dewey Cheatham and Howe. Yeah, um, I had no reason to to mistrust the system as deeply as we should have then. But now, as I say, we're putting all of these fishy stories together, and it does not, my my, my cousin Vinny. Remember my cousin Vinny, and the question he asked, is he puts on his girlfriend up there to be the expert witness, and she testifies all about how the point tap of a '57 Chevy, and how the uh, positive traction tires and all this stuff, and specifically. And and then he says, now the theory is that this is the car that hit Mr. So and so. Does that theory hold water? I say, well, what a great question. What a great lawyerly question to make up. Does that hold water? Does that theory hold water? Well, he got away with it. The other lawyer didn't object, and so she was able to. Yeah, Marisa Tomei, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, that was a great funny movie with my favorite Munster, uh, Fred Gwynn. Fred Gwynn, Car 54, where are you? I'm actually kind of happy uh, tonight. Feeling some pressure come off, uh, just because I know that it's not life threatening. It's not going to keep her in a wheelchair or anything like that. And what? That was an amazing traumatic event for us. So these two Utes. Yeah, that was great. Joe Pesci. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I really do. I've been looking forward to getting back to talking to you guys, but we've been busy today. We ran up to Waldorf to see the new cardiologist, and then we went to do some errands and got back here, take care of the dogs, and just some domestic stuff. We're enjoying spending some time together, just watching television and things like that. Timothy Judd is here. Yay. Okay. Timothy, let's get together and play some tunes. I would love that. Yeah, we're not that far apart. I can come down to Richmond or you meet you somewhere in between. Well, if you'll forgive me, I think my brain is just not got a whole lot going on right now. I think it's time for me to shut it down early tonight. Thank you all very much again. I appreciate your support. The wind beneath our wings here. I've had a scary few days, and I'm feeling a lot of relief now. Looking forward to tomorrow night. We will. Oh, yeah, Timothy, sounds good. Always welcome here. All right. Well, as soon as we get things stabilized here, I'm going to get in touch with you because be uh, a lot of fun. We had a nice session at the McDuff 50th anniversary memorial back in June, and he's uh, he's quite a musician, that Timothy. All right, thanks everybody. I'm calling it a night.